So, with Minecraft Live coming up soon, I'm really excited to find out what the next update will be. A lot of people are hoping this update will be a big update, and I don't blame them. With the Caves and Cliffs update split into two smaller parts, it has now been 3 years since we've gotten an update with a large amount of content in it. However, I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. I feel like most of the recent smaller updates have been good updates. A big update would be exciting, but I would not be disappointed if they gave us more smaller updates, as long as they're good. This got me thinking, what makes a good update? What matters most to people when updates are released? Is it the amount of content, the quality of the content, the context of when it is released, the presentation, nostalgia, or something else? Well, to find out, I decided to rank every Minecraft update from 1.0 to 1.20 on which I think is the best. Some quick rules first. I will be ranking these based on how good the features in the updates are, but also on the context around the update and my personal preferences. I will not be ranking minor versions like 1.19.2, just the overall update. Keep in mind that all this is just my opinion. If you think some updates are better or worse than what I rank them, that's great. Also, if you enjoy this video, leaving a like and subscribing to my channel helps me grow my channel, and helps you see more of my content and other content like this. Thanks! Now let's get into what I think the worst Minecraft update is. So, in preparation for this video, I watched some other people's ranking videos, and one thing surprised me every time. The worst Minecraft update according to most people is 1.10, the Frostburn update. Don't get me wrong, this update's pretty bad, and we'll talk about it more later. But there is an update that I think is quite a bit worse, and that is update 1.1. It added 0 new mobs, spawn eggs, music discs, apples, bow enchantments, super flat worlds, and the beach biome. It is by far the smallest update, which doesn't really matter because updates can be smaller while still being good, but most of these features could have never existed and Minecraft would still feel pretty much the same. Music discs are by far the best part, but the rest was just okay. That paired with it being very small makes it the worst Minecraft update. There is some silver lining, because it didn't really matter that this update was bad. The next update would be released in just a couple of months. But honestly, they should have just waited a little while and included all the things in this update in the next one. Alright, now we can talk about 1.10. The main problem with this update is timing. It was released as Minecraft popularity was going down and did basically nothing to stop that. It did add the Stray and Husk as well as the Polar Bear, which are decent at adding some variety to some of the biomes. They also added unique villagers to different biomes and some other minor things, none of which are bad features, but the lack of a really exciting thing makes this the second worst update. 1.12 is a popular update among builders. I'm not a builder. Once again, none of these features are really bad, just not that great. I like the consistency between colors, and concrete is extremely useful for building, but this update is mostly just pretty boring. I think I'm noticing a trend here. 1.2 is once again an update that none of the features are bad, but there's not much exciting stuff. Jungles, cats, and iron golems are all great features, but the lack of an amazing feature makes this update pretty forgettable. Alright, one more boring update. 1.6, the horse update, added horses. I know, shocker. But it also added donkeys and mules along with leads, name tags, carpets, and hardened clay, which later became known as terracotta. You know the drill by now, none of these features are bad, but come on, when was the last time you actually used a horse in Minecraft? Finally, an update that actually sounds good. 1.3 added villager trading, which was very flawed at first, but would get better with other updates. It added some other pretty important things, like varied stairs for different wood types, which was actually the first time varied wood for craftable blocks was added. It also added 3 new structures, which I feel like are the highlight of the update. The desert village would later get updated in the village and pillage update, and the jungle temple is in desperate need of an update now, but the desert temple still holds up today, especially with the updates it got in 1.20. The desert temple carries this update, but villagers getting a use and other things are also pretty good. 1.15 is a very interesting update. It only added bees in their respective blocks, but it changed a ton of small things. You probably didn't even realize this, but cracked iron golems, dark prismarine crafting, and nether roof portal linking were all added in this update, along with a ton of other things and a ton of bug fixes. I love it when Minecraft adds little things that make the game make more sense, and bug fixes are always nice, so this update gets 15th place. Next, we have 1.5, the Redstone update. I'm not a big Redstoner, but the things that were added in this update are a huge deal for even basic Redstone. Droppers, hoppers, and comparators are all essential Redstone components that are very useful. The only problem with this update is its lack of variety of content. If you don't know how to use Redstone, this update is pretty much useless to you. The Bountiful update was about as average of an update you can get. It added ocean monuments, a really cool structure at the time, but it really needs an update nowadays. It also added individual wood types for doors, fences, and fence gates, which are all great changes. There are quite a few other things that make this update pretty good, just not nearly as good as future updates. 1.11. This update is the update that I started playing Minecraft in. That being said, that doesn't make me say that this update is better than it is. For being called the Adventure Update, it's not very adventurous. However, it added 4 of the most important items in Minecraft: the Shulker Box, the Totem of Undying, the Observer, and Firework Flying. They also added the Woodland Mansion, which could probably use an update, but it still holds up to this day. Overall, a pretty good update. 1.4, the Pretty Scary update, added a lot of things that surprised me. Did you know that it added potatoes, carrots, and baby zombies? I always thought those things had been in the game since beta versions. It also added anvils, enchanted books, and fireworks, but by far the highlight of the update was the Wither, the second boss added to Minecraft and currently the only other boss since the Ender Dragon. It is one of my favorite mobs in the game, and I think most people would agree with that. That is the main reason this update is so high. Okay, we've reached the top 10, and what better to start off with than one of the most controversial updates of all time, 1.19, the Wild update. This update added the Ancient City, arguably the best structure of all time, the Warden, one of the coolest mobs of all time, and definitely the scariest. It also added mangrove swamps and frogs, along with a few other things. On the surface, this update seems pretty good. If this was all there was to the update, it would probably be 2 or 3 slots ahead of where it is. But there is more to this update than meets the eye. First, there's the matter of broken promises. Many people, myself included, consider something shown off at Minecraft Live as something that is going to be added to the game. But, during Minecraft Live 2021, both the Firefly and Birch Forest update were shown. Neither of these things were added to Minecraft. The Birch Forest update makes sense. The Warden and Ancient Cities took longer than expected, and the Birch Forest update was just concept art. But Fireflies were seen in the game, and the reason they were not added is very dumb. I'm not normally a person who criticizes Mojang a lot. They get a lot of hate, but with a game as big as Minecraft, it is impossible to make everyone happy. Are they perfect? No. There's a lot they could do better, and I have said and will continue to say things that I think will make the game better. But the Firefly thing, that's the worst. The reason Fireflies were not added was because they are poisonous to frogs in real life. That's fine, just make it so frogs don't eat Fireflies, and add them because it would add some cool ambience to the game. But instead, they just scrapped Fireflies altogether. This was very disappointing, and Fireflies could have been a really cool thing. Maybe someday they will be added, but for now, that's one reason this update is not as great as it could have been. The second reason is chat reporting. I won't take too long to talk about this, there are a lot of other videos you can watch if you want to learn more. To cut to the chase, chat reporting is not fair for a lot of people, encroaches on people's privacy, and just flat out doesn't work in places that it would be the most useful. I understand that companies need to avoid lawsuits, but they could have handled this so much better. That being said, Ancient Cities are still really cool, and the other features are still good, so this update still gets 10th place. Okay, I talked about that one for a long time. This one should not take nearly as long. Playing during 1.17 was really weird. The Caves and Cliffs update was split into 2 parts. One part added all the blocks and mobs, and the other added all the world generation. This update added the first thing, which made the game very strange for 5 months. A lot of the blocks and items almost felt like hidden features, and the rest felt like they were just shoved into a place where they kinda made sense. Don't get me wrong, the features were very cool, but the offness of this update makes it lower than it would have been. Okay, gear up for another controversial update, this time probably the most controversial update, 1.9, the Combat update. I'm just gonna come out and say it, I like this update. The bad parts of it were all great in my opinion, and some of them were necessary. The main reason people don't like this update is because of the combat rework. But for a big and growing game like Minecraft, the combat system was too simple. I would even go as far to say it was boring. Everyone can have their opinions, and if you don't like the new combat, that's fine. I do think the new system is flawed, and hopefully someday we'll get the experimental combat changes, but I think it was a step in the right direction. The Elytra is also a good feature. It's a fun endgame reward. Overall, a very solid update in my opinion. At the time of making this video, 1.20 is the most recent update. A lot of people found this update disappointing, but I disagree. People feel like the things added in this update are not that useful or important, but I say they don't have to be. Not every feature added to Minecraft has to be completely game-changing, as long as they are cool. This update added a ton of small things that just add a little bit more to a lot of things. My favorite feature is armor trims, which are really cool collectibles. I absolutely love all the customization this brings, and playing on a server becomes a lot easier, because there is now an easy way to differentiate between people at a distance. Archaeology is a great way to improve already existing structures, and I hope they continue to add more of it. The other features are fun, and I think they all come together to make a very good update. 1.7 is the update that changed the world. It added a ton of new biomes to the game, which made the world feel bigger and more special. It did not do much besides adding these new biomes in their respective blocks, but I feel like that's fine, since this is still a ton of content, and it's all really good. The only reason this update isn't higher is because the remaining updates are even better than this one. 1.14 is a great example of an amazing update. It focused on updating an outdated feature, and did it extremely well. Not only did it update villagers, it also added some great new features, some of them on theme, some of them not. It also added the amazing new textures for blocks, and added the closest thing we have gotten to a boss since the Wither, the Raid. This update is probably the most universally loved update in Minecraft, except for maybe one. The Caves and Cliffs update part 2 is the real Caves and Cliffs update, in my opinion. It actually added the caves and the cliffs, and improved the entire overworld generation, making beautiful scenes like this. They fully implemented the mobs and blocks of part 1, and added amazing new biomes. The only thing I can complain about are the things that were not added, like archaeology, the warden, and bundles. But most of these things were added in future updates, and the stuff we did get is still insane. Okay, this is it. We're in the top 3. I had a really hard time ranking these ones, but I think this is the order I have them in. I would not blame you if my number 2 and 3 are your first place, because all of these updates are amazing. This is probably going to be my most controversial pick of the entire video, but taking 3rd place is 1.0, the update that started it all. This is the update that brought Minecraft out of beta into the fully released game. It's an incredible update, adding Endermen, Nether Fortresses, the end itself, potions, villagers, creative mode, enchantments, mine shafts. This update is incredible. Most people would probably rank this 1st place, so why is it 3rd? Well, the main factor is how outdated it is. If you look through the changelog, you'll see that almost everything has had a pretty major change at some point in the 11 years since this update's been released. That's to be expected. It added a lot of stuff and it was from a long time ago. Also, this update was rushed so it could be announced for Minecon. Villagers did nothing, the end had no sound, the Ender Dragon fight was pretty boring. Those things all got fixed over time, but at the time, this update felt unfinished. So, while this is still a very important and incredible update, the bugs and changes that had to happen bring this down just a little bit. Okay, coming in at 2nd place, we have the Update Aquatic. Like I talked about during the 1.14 segment, 1.13 does an amazing job of updating a bad feature, in this case being the oceans. But something I haven't talked about yet is that this update also makes the oceans feel finished. If you watched my last video, you know that I want the next update to try to make the game feel more complete. While the whole game may not feel complete, there are parts of it that do, one of those being the ocean. Obviously, it could always be better, we're seeing that through the 2023 mob though. But without those new features, the ocean feels great. I love how different the ocean feels from the rest of the game. The ambience, weird drops, and fun creatures make the ocean awesome. There is one bad part to this update. I'm looking at you, Phantom. But I do not think that's bad enough to make this update worse than it could have been. All of this makes this the 2nd best update in the game. There is only one update that I think is better. Finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. The best Minecraft update, in my opinion, is 1.16, the Nether update. This update is beautiful. It completely overhauled the Nether, adding 4 new biomes, tons of new mobs, ambience that feels amazing, fun new structures, new blocks and items, and netherite, which added a new layer of strength to armor. Because of this update, the Nether is my favorite place in Minecraft, and not because I'm very skilled. I die there all the time. No, it's my favorite because the Nether really feels like a dangerous dimension where you always have to be on your toes. The music and sounds of the Nether feel basically perfect, and the biomes are incredible, each of them having a unique challenge. The new wood types, the mobs, the crazy formations, all of it adds up to make an incredibly immersive experience that's just a lot of fun. That's why I think Minecraft 1.16 is the best update. So, what did I learn from all this? Well, I think in order to have a good Minecraft update, you need to have a decent amount of features, at least one big feature that gets people excited, a lack of bad features, and most of the changes have to be recognizable. The worst updates were very small, forgettable, and had basically no exciting features. Hopefully, 1.21 will meet these requirements and continue to make the game even better. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think the best Minecraft update is in the comments, and I'll see you next time.